Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, we have an extra special show for you. My guest tonight is a man that has made waves recently due to his controversial debate and discussion with President Obama. Please welcome, Mr. Puritan.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Your recent appearance with the president has really made you the talk of the town.
Yes. So I've heard. But I don't really see where anything that I said to the president was all that controversial. I merely wanted to be truthful in my answers.
You don't think that it could be due to the fact that some of the answers that were given may have been viewed as narrow or too exclusive?
I find that question to be an interesting one.
Why so?
Because the main thrust of the president's argument was an appeal to tolerance. Yet, no one seems to want to tolerate me.
I'm sorry, I don't think I follow you.
Exactly my point. I'm tolerant of your view to disagree with me. That is well. Yet you seem to be intolerant of my convictions. You don't seem to want to abide by the same rules that should apply to all parties involved.
But why does there only have to be one way? You say that your way is necessary for true freedom and real liberty. I just don't see how this could be possible with such an exclusive point of view.
What is freedom?
It is the quality or state of being free.
Very well. Furthermore, it is the absence of necessity, coercion, or constraint in choice or action.
But liberty and freedom are synonymous, are they not?
In the initial definition, yes. Better still, it is the power to do as one pleases.
So I don't see what the problem is. This is exactly the point of the issue. People should, and can, do and worship as they please. Is this not the very reason that the pilgrims aboard the Mayflower made the journey to Plymouth? Was it not to worship God in their own way?
Exactly.
Well, didn't you just make my point for me?
Quite to the contrary, I believe you just made mine.
What? How?
They were seeking freedom from a tyrannical state-controlled religious establishment that told them how they had to worship God. This was not a biblical mandate, but a man-made law. Let's not be mistaken in our history, Ms. Winfrey. There was never any intention for them to serve any other God, but the one, true, and living God. You see, liberty at its very core is not just freedom to do what one pleases, but doing what one ought to do as well.
And with all that said, you still say that this view is tolerant, but I fail to see it.
You can tolerate without embracing error. I want all to come to know the truth of God that can only be found in Jesus Christ. However, I know that many don't believe. But real Christianity isn't bound by law. Indeed, it is bound by love. Even loving those who oppose you. This is what makes it so different than all other forms of religion in the world. It is love that brings us to God, and love that keeps us there.
Now, hang on a second. I know a thing or two about the Christian faith. I grew up in a Baptist church. All we ever heard were rules what to do and what not to do. You yourself even said that Jesus himself said, "If you love me then you will keep my commandments." So how is it that you can now turn around and say that Christians are not bound by law?
Please pay attention to the statement, my dear friend. If you indeed love Christ first, then you most certainly will keep his commands. Have you ever loved someone?
Of course.
Then you know that when you love someone deeply, you will do anything they ask, and not merely because they ask, but because you want to do what they ask. In many cases they won't have to ask, because you will do the asking. Nothing pleases you more than pleasing them. And so it is with Christ.
Very well. And I do read my Bible and I believe that a great deal of what Jesus says is true, and I try to apply it to my life.
With all due respect, Jesus cannot simply be reduced to a few words on a page and applied. This is the age-old error of the rich young ruler. He tried to apply the things of Christ without taking Christ himself as well, and found it wanting.
So, if Jesus is not at the center of my universe, it's just not enough? You see, when you say it like that, it's so.
I said no such thing.
What?
You did. I have heard you speak of your Christian background before, and how you found the notion of God, being a jealous God, repulsive.
Yeah. I did say that. I find it hard to believe that God can be loving and jealous at the same time.
This is hard for you to understand, because you do not understand that God is not jealous of us, but for us. You are thinking of jealousy from a human perspective, not divine.
Is there really a difference?
Absolutely. The earth is the Lord's, and all who are in it. Therefore, he has a zeal for what he has created. Human jealousy is all too often a misappropriation.
Boy, don't I know it.
You see God's jealousy as a measure of keeping you from something greater, not as a measure of love. This in turn, keeps you from seeing the actual truth of the matter.
Which is what?
That God has such a jealous zeal for his people, that he would do anything to bring them to himself, including crushing his own son, to save us from his wrath, requiring that he fulfill the law, while requiring nothing of us in return for our disobedience and betrayal of him, save this, that we believe in the one he has sent, Jesus, who sends the Spirit, to guarantee our assurance and ability.
And that's freedom?
The truest freedom, indeed. Freed from wrath, freed from spiritual death and sin. Free to love God, as well as my fellow man. This is liberation. Love God, and do what you please.
Sir, we're out of time. But, I would love to do this again sometime soon, if that's okay with you? There's so much more to discuss.
By all means, yes. It would be an honor.
I have many more questions, so be sure to tune in next time. Thanks for watching.